with advertising budgets for social. Very excited I got to use this picture. Okay, so the real question, there is a lot of questions around what to spend on your social media. I know that there's this idea, we know that it's a lot cheaper than traditional marketing, but we don't know by how much, okay? Or what the average amount of money is that we should be spending on it, okay? So let's just have a look into it a little bit. Okay, so first things first, how much should I spend, right? So we've got a couple of general outlines, all right? I found some information for you from, there's a site called the Content Factory, okay? So they did a bit of research and they discerned that your companies that earn less than $25 million will generally spend an average of 11% revenue on marketing. Okay, these guys, this first group, that's over 25 million. This is kind of across the board globally. Okay, over $25 million, they spend around 9% of their revenue on marketing. Okay, and marketing online. And those that earn less, okay, or turnover less, spend about 11%. So those numbers it's all very good and well for us to understand this and to know that this is what people are spending. However, that doesn't really help us, okay? It doesn't really help. I mean, I don't have a turnover of 25 million. I don't have a turnover of I suppose it's under 25 million. So 11% is kind of your standard rule. It ranges with B2B products are 10.6%, B2B service businesses spend 10.1%, so it varies a little bit. It varies around the 10%, 11% kind of brackets, okay? So, but that study by Content Factory, they spoke about it. They did a bit of an analysis on SMEs, and they revealed that the average business, okay, spends between $4,000 and $7,000 a month on social marketing, which is like $200 to $350 a day. Now, if you've got those kind of budgets, that's all very good and well. A lot of us don't. Okay, so my general rule is set aside what you can. Maybe look at setting aside 9% of your turnover. I certainly wouldn't have $4,000 to throw around. You can still get very good results from lower budgets. Okay, so don't panic around these things. So basically, guys, I also want to underline the fact that it really does cost you more than just money. So you might think that it is just a monetary issue and it is just something that you can kind of throw money at. Obviously, so many of you guys are on this course because you want to be able to do it yourselves. But I know if you are entrepreneurs, you don't have that much time. Okay, so sometimes what we want to do, or what may be the more feasible option, is to outsource. Okay, so I've got a couple of options here for you. If you would like to outsource that, the social media kind of strategizing and implementation, because that does take a lot of time and money, okay? Here are a couple of your options. So there are pros and cons to each. So here I've got, if you hire someone who is interning, okay, there are a lot of pros to this. Okay, it is a lot cheaper than if you were to hire a professional. It's very low cost. It could be just an internship, so there could be no cost to the company. However, there are quite a few cons, and if depending on how much time you've got to spend with these interns, they vary. Okay, so it does cost you in time, okay? Because they have no experience. You're going to have to teach them. There's no true practicality to using social media to grow your business. They don't have that experience, okay? You've constantly got to keep an eye on them and to teach them and train them and bring them into the industry and to basically mentor them, okay? And it is very much a temporary position for the majority of cases, okay? Because once they gain that experience, the desired experience that you're offering, they leave and they go and find good paying positions, okay? So this is very much there are pros and cons to it. If you don't have a big budget, This is a good one. I have given you 3 different options at 3 different price points. Okay, so this is free or very low cost for people with smaller budgets. All right, so next we have our freelancers. Okay, and now having worked as a freelancer myself, it's quite a sweet deal for both parties, right? Because there are a couple of pros. So what I mean by a freelancer is when you hire someone who freelances, who does contract work to manage your social channels for you and to create the content, do all of that good stuff. Okay, the pros here. There is a lot more flexibility and it is a lower cost than getting someone in-house. Okay, Kareem is saying, I don't know what micromanagement is. So it is literally managing every single movement that an intern makes. Okay, so you literally dictate to them exactly what they need to do, where they need to do it, how they need to do it, and at what time they need to do it. Okay, I hope that explains it. So the pros to having a freelancer, there's a lot more flexibility around this. So your freelancers, typically, they can move from project to project with a lot of ease, okay? It's much lower cost in terms of the employer doesn't have to pay employment taxes or include benefits for them, okay? However, there are cons to this, okay, when you're hiring a freelancer for these kind of jobs. There is no loyalty. Okay, freelancers sell their services to the highest bidder, and if someone else is paying them more, they will be prioritizing that person's work. It's just the way that it goes. It's not intentional. It's their lives or their salaries that month depend on it. Okay, you are reliant on one person for the job to be done. Okay, if that person is sick or extremely busy, your social media is kind of put on hold, it's a bit of a risk. Okay, there is no oversight in this case as well. There's little to no transparency on how the work is actually being performed or it's being generated. Okay, until the results are already there. Okay, exactly, Richard. He says about micromanagement is having to look over their shoulders all the time. Okay, excellent. So that is your freelancer. Okay, and then you've got your in-house employee. Okay, so I know that this is very much kind of suited to your smaller companies or your SMEs, but it is still an option. This is for a higher price point, okay, but it's just another option, we say. Okay, so the pros to this, okay, they are 100% committed to working for your organization and your organization alone. Okay, there is total oversight. You've got 100% oversight to see what's happening on a day-to-day basis. Okay, you also, you can hire that experience. You hire it, build it, and retain it. Okay, so you don't lose out. You don't have the same situation as when you've hired people and they move on to a better job after you. Okay, to go and get paid more. And there's absolute flexibility to change their work focus, because if something comes up, you don't have to offer them more incentive to move over to that project. They are hired by you. They can move automatically. They can move straight away. Okay, so now your cons in hiring an in-house employee. All right. It's pretty high cost comparative to the other two. So your average salary for a social media manager is between $35,000 to $50,000 a year. Okay, that varies country to country. I know that they cost in Johannesburg between 18 and 25,000 Rand a month. I think substantially less in Cape Town, from my kind of experience. And I'm not too sure about in Europe, in the UK or in Euro, basically. But it would be around about the conversion from dollars. The employee has their employment taxes and benefits paid for. Okay, so in terms of your hidden costs, there's that health insurance. There's, if you're in the States, it's a 401k plan. You're paying for them in all sorts of different ways that you might not have to do with the other two. Okay, and you are reliant on one person here as well, because if they're sick, or they leave the company as well, then your social media is on hold again. And it is a long-term commitment for these people, okay? You've got to establish training, processes with them, and reporting for that position as well, okay? So those are just a couple of outlines. There is this final one, okay, which is a bit of a hybrid, okay? It's if you hire a small marketing agency or a small marketing company, you outsource to them, okay? It's kind of like hiring a freelancer / full-time employee, okay? You get the best of both worlds here. So most small marketing companies want to grow their clients, right? You're going to find that they're going to be committed to helping your company grow as well. They'll be on that journey with you because it kind of makes them look a bit better as well. And maybe the best benefit of this is that it is not reliant on one person. They are committed to you. You've got a bit of oversight, okay, because you'll have meetings and they'll be go-between, make sure that they're meeting contract standards. But not being reliant on one person is a very, very good option. It's a very good pro to this, okay? They do have experience as well, and you don't have to pay the employment taxes or benefits. All right, so if you are in the position where you can look at this as an option, look at an agency, then I do think that it's worthwhile having a look at. Richard is asking, what's this one? This is it's approaching a small marketing company or agency. I probably should have put the names on them, hey? I'll edit the slides so that they have them. Okay, so I just want to do a little bit of maths around this as well. So for a good small marketing company they could range from $400 or say €400 to €1,500 a month. Okay, this is a small agency. If you're paying for a package with them, if they're constantly doing marketing work for you, they're managing your social accounts and that, it would be like €5,000 or so a year. So because that's like 400 times 12, minimum is 4,800, 5,000 euro. Okay, at the best, at the most, if you're asking them to manage everything for you, they'll be around 18 to 20,000 euro a year. Okay, and that all works out. So that's like 1,500 times 12, 18,000. Okay, guys, there are several pricing options as well. It's worth saying that as well. So you can choose what you need from them. You can kind of market pick. Now, for the cons, there are a lot less cons, but you are kind of locked into a contract, most likely for 6 to 12 months, and you don't have full-on oversight the way that you would with an in-house employee, okay? So if you were looking at these things, if you aren't able to manage this stuff yourself, if you're not using this course to get into a job where you learn or where you're using the skills that you are learning, and you're in a business, I would outsource to these folks. Alrighty. Everybody with me? We all here? And hopefully that's helpful to you guys. Now, if you do have any questions around this and if these don't cover what your needs are, do send me a message, type it in. We'll have a chat about it in the Q&A. Okay, Betty says yes. Dorothy says totally. Mina says all good. Wonderful. Okay, so let's move along. I now want to get stuck into what we were talking about in the last lesson. Okay, why do we need a social media strategy? Robert, not a bad idea. He said, how about buying a company ready-made? That is, if you can do it, go for it. So why do we need a social media strategy? Betty says, so you can plan out your marketing and see what platform works best for your audience. Lizelle says, planning, testing, adjusting. Sam says, what about freelancer on a retainer? That's not a bad idea either. How else will you know what to do? Richard says, that is a valid point. Building your brand. There needs to be a plan that ties back to your overall marketing strategy. Absolutely, Johan. Okay, guys, so it needs to be that thread that weaves together and it supports and it amplifies your brand experience for your user on your platforms. Okay, you've got to have everything organized in tandem with each other, and social media it allows us to learn about our audience in such a granular way. and if we can harness the information, we can find out exactly who they are, who the followers are per channel, what channel suits our brand, what channel suits our audience, where our audience lives, what their interests are, all of that cool stuff. If we can get to understand all of this stuff across the board and get to manage our application of this and manage our understanding of them, then we can present totally customized content and we can give them an exceptional digital experience, which will only make our brand look better. Okay, it'll emphasize our brand. So I've got a couple of little points here. Okay, what we want to do, what it does is it helps us to establish our online presence. So you cannot really get away without having social media planning, okay, without having social media presence online these days. We've gone over the statistics. Everybody's online. Everybody's on social, okay, almost everybody anyway, 80% or so. So it helps us to build that greater online presence, okay? It's a channel for customer service. It's an incredibly powerful channel for customer service, and we've looked at that throughout this lesson, or this course, sorry. It is a driver for conversion. We've looked at how we can use those adverts, the social ads, and our strategies, with our engagements and all of that to convert people, to drive people to our website, drive web traffic, okay, and to assist in that conversion and the after sales care, okay. It also enhances our natural search and SEO depending on which channel we use, okay. This is something that is becoming more and more of a reality nowadays. And now, while I know that you can't get direct SEO kind of enhancement for your social channel at the moment, unless it's Google+, I may be wrong there, but I think that still stands. It's coming in the future, okay? So very, very soon as well. So it is enhancing now, and it will further enhance it further down the line when it does come into play. Okay, and most importantly, a lot of you guys have said it, brand management and brand awareness. Okay, it grows our relationship with our audience, and it reinforces it. Okay, so I want you to keep these in mind when we're developing our strategies. Okay, what are you looking to achieve? What are you looking to get? Okay, excellent. Everybody's with me. So with that in mind, I'm going to revisit this again, okay, what we had a look at, this little breakdown, the 5 steps to your social media strategy that we put together. We had our buyer persona. You start with that. You then set your objectives, your goals, which we looked at in a bit more depth in the last lesson, okay. Social audit was what we're going to have a deeper look at tonight. And your competitor analysis, which we discussed a little bit last lesson, but it's also covered in more depth on the digital semester, okay? And then you pick your approach. So that's what we're kind of doing right now. Richard says, Sun Tzu says, tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. Oh, that's a bit deep. Okay, guys, so question. Why do we need to perform social media audits? Moving on to our social media audits. I'm very excited about this. Why do we need to perform them? Okay, if our social strategy is incredibly important for us to maintain for those 5-6 points that we just had a look at, why do we need to audit our social strategy? Why do you guys think that is? Lizelle says to assess what's working and which platforms are best for your brand. Absolutely. To improve. Cecilia says absolutely. Guys, the word audit tends to scare people quite a bit. I mean, no one really enjoys when that particular word is mentioned in the same sentence as tax or returns. Okay, I totally understand the negative connotation or the negative association with the word audit, but it is so incredibly helpful. Really, really not as bad as we think they are. Okay. Maria says to benchmark against our competitors. David says checks and balances, good governance. Wonderful way of putting it. To know if your ads are impacting. Tejumade, amazing, excellent. Kelly says to make sure what's working and clean up what isn't. Wonderful. Goodness, it's like you guys don't even need this course anymore. Okay, great. Track insights, see what's working in line with our marketing objectives. Wonderful. Tracking performance against our goals. Johan, that's wonderful. Okay, great, guys. So loads and loads of answers coming through there. Let's have a look. It's a really, really important part of the entire strategy. Okay, so, and it's a really important part of business, whether we like it or not. Okay, we've got to keep our strategies aligned. We've got to keep that social strategy aligned to our business strategy. Okay, so here is a little bit why. Here is why we need to have this strategy, okay, in place. Firstly, brand consistency. Okay, so if your brand's misaligned, if it's inconsistent, people are going to see your company in the same light. Okay, if you do not audit and see that everything is in alignment, then it's going to come across messy and unprofessional, whatever presence you've got online. Okay, it's going to tarnish that kind of positioning in your audience's mind. Secondly, your strategy. Okay, you need to have a common message and a common thread, as I said before, that ties in with your greater strategy. You know, you've got to think about how many communities you need, where they're placed, how that fits into and feeds into your brand itself and your positioning, okay, your desired positioning. Don't spread your audience across too many platforms, okay? A lot of people try to go on as many platforms as possible, and it's just, sometimes they spread too thin, okay? And they get incredibly disengaged. All right? And thirdly, support, okay? So whoever is managing your social, okay, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. There's that time, there's energy, there's people, and there's effort, okay? So the more channels that you've got, I've said this to you guys before, the more resources, the more time, energy, people, and effort you're going to need, okay? We want to keep things running as tidily and optimally as possible. We're going to run a tight ship, okay? That's kind of my main takeaway. You've got to keep it tight and clean, okay? So there are 3 different types of audits that you can run and that you probably should run, okay? There is the initial audit, okay? So this is before, when you kick things off. If you haven't done this, it's okay. It's still an initial audit. If you've been running your campaigns and running your social channels for a while, you can still go back and have your initial audit and look at things as they stand today, okay? This is kind of your planning process. It's the beginnings of it. Okay, so then we've got our annual audit, which should be run at least once a year, okay, to compare performance from year to year. Okay, that's fairly straightforward. And you can then see, benchmark advocates and benchmark your influencers, see what trends have changed. You can see which topics suit your product and whether they still suit your product, whether they don't anymore suit your efforts, you know. And you can analyze that data kind of from a little bit further away, like a helicopter view, okay? And then, I mean, you can do that quantitative and the qualitative research and setting of those goals and decide where you want to be next year and what your trajectory is going to be. Okay, and then there is ongoing monitoring. It's like your mini audit. So maybe you can do this, well, you should monitor frequently enough. You should have an eye on it at all times, but the big stuff maybe once every 2 or 3 months. Exactly. Richard says, Carmine, social media Carmine suggested running an audit every 3 months. It's not a bad idea at all, but you should have an eye on it as much as is possible. Okay, because you're going to see there's lots of stuff going on at different levels. Okay, so you want to keep an eye on the small stuff and the big stuff, and it just makes it easier to kind of spread it out that way. Okay, so remember we looked at these, I'm just going to bring these points back that we kind of briefly looked at last lesson for your social audit. We had a look at, these are the 5 things that are necessary to consider. Okay, and we're going to break these down a little bit more. So we have to look at our current strategy, where we're sitting now. Okay, we've got to look at our presence. We've got to look at optimization, consistency, and a recap of our goals. Okay, so hop on. So current strategy, starting first with this one. Okay, you're gonna want to look at this, whether it's your initial strategy or whether it's the mini audits you're running or whether it's your annual. Your current strategy is whatever you're looking at that time. Okay, so first things first, you're going to create a spreadsheet. I'm going to put some templates into your summary notes, okay? And perhaps I'll link you to a Google Doc spreadsheet, or if you email me, I'll send you on the breakdowns of them. How did everybody find the other spreadsheets that I sent around, the content planning? How did you find those? Let me know what you thought of them, because if they were helpful, then I'll make more. Okay. Next one. Okay, check what's there already. So look at what information has been shared on what platform. You know, what kind of content are you putting out? What are your ratios? Look at what is currently sitting on your social channels and what kind of engagement there is. Google yourself. Okay, I mentioned this in the last lesson. Have a look at what you look like from an outsider's perspective. Okay, and how you can then change that to suit. See that what your tone of voice is and your brand strategy. We're not sitting and looking at it. At this point, we're just taking stock, okay? We're not sitting and judging and deciding on new strategies. We're just looking at what is there as it stands, okay? Simple, simple. Take it a step at a time. And then finally, look at what the audience engagement is. Look at how people are engaging with your page, how they are responding, and keep this information kind of simple enough, but get a general overview, and then at a later stage we'll look at how it can be affected. Okay, so next one is your presence. This one's fairly simple. You want to have a look at what channels you're on. Okay, how effective are those channels that you are using? Okay, how many followers have you got? What kind of engagements are you getting? How are you disseminating information on them? Is that effective? Okay, and where are your adverts being run? Are you running them on every channel? Have you just got a couple of specific channels? Is this something that is effective at the moment? Okay, then when it comes to optimization, this is the fun bit. You look at how it can be changed. Okay, you look at your channel specific SEO. If you're running Google Plus, SEO is absolutely vital. Okay, so your keywords, using keywords in your Google Plus posts. You can still use keywords if you're publishing blogs on your Facebook, on your website, and sharing those links on your social channels. You want to make sure that you're using keywords in those social the social posts, okay, or in the ads. You really the ones that align with that particular article. All right. Cut the fat. Okay, this is what I mean by we're keeping a tight ship. Okay, look at what is not working and kind of be a little bit not brutal, but cut what you don't need. If it leaves you with one social channel, then it leaves you with one social channel. Okay, there is nothing wrong with that. You just need to. The simpler the better. Okay, if you are finding that it's all a little bit of a mess, scale it back, scale everything back. Start with 1 post, 2 posts a week. Okay, plan everything. So cut it all back as much as you possibly can. Scale it down. Create a process for everything, guys. Track as much as you can. Track who is posting, what they're posting, what seasons are coming up, what content's going on for that, what is going on your websites, and how it can be tracked across, when it's going to be taken across. There's so much to consider here, okay? And how you can streamline those processes. There's got to be a way, whether if you're posting things to each social channel individually, look at content management systems like Hootsuite. Look at your social platforms, okay? And make it better. Try and do it better every time, okay? And then schedule frequent but not excessive check-ins. This fits back into the mini audits that I was talking about. But with this, what I mean by this is take stock of where you're standing, even if it's a little meeting at the end of each week, okay, or the beginning of each week, with a breakdown of what happened that week and how, what the plans are for the coming week. It's just about good planning, really. If you are managing a creative team, or if you are engaging with a freelancer, you do need to have these check-in points. I'm not talking about every single day, but you do need to try to keep a good idea and a good grasp of what's going on at all times, so that if things go wrong, if anything, so that there are no surprises, okay? But don't make it obsessive, don't make it excessive. It's not the be-all and end-all, but you do need to stay on top of your social channels, okay? Then, consistency. So this is vitally important. Okay, you need to make sure that your images are all high quality, that they are all the same tone, they're all using the same branding, the same style of imagery, that it all suits your brand, okay, that it all fits in with that tone of your brand. It is so important to carry the message, firstly have it streamlined and carry it across every single platform and your website. They all fit into the one. This is your business and its representation online. Okay, this is what people experience when they think of, or when they visit your business. Okay, so you've got to make sure that everything integrates and everything is of the same quality. I went onto a website there a couple of days ago, and beautiful website, but there was a big image on it that was pixelated, and it was only slightly pixelated, but it threw off the entire quality level of the site. It kind of, maybe I'm a little bit picky, but it kind of turned me off. Okay, check the message again. Make sure that you're using the same language, the same driving points. If you've got a call to action, use that across your channels, or use different shades of the same call to action, okay? If you've got one goal, make sure that you craft that call to action around it, okay? And if you've got a few different ways of saying it, it's so desperately important that they're in alignment, guys. Consistency is, that it all kind of comes down to that, okay? Make sure that your content, again, that you have high quality content, that what you're putting out is useful, of value to people. These are simple things, but they do get lost when you're looking for sales. They really do. I've experienced it myself. It's like all of the quality goes out the window in favor of panicking about making money, okay? Or getting clicks, or, and you lose the quality of it. And it sounds so counterintuitive, but it's something that desperately needs to be at the forefront at all times. So this is why we say, if you build your strategy around, make it customer centric, then it's easy to keep the quality levels up. But if you're built around sales, if that's your main driver, if you're built around making money, if you're built around getting your name out there even, and contacting as many people as possible, you're going to lose out on your quality. And that applies to business, that applies to content, that applies to social channels. Is everybody with me? And I put tone of voice in there twice just to make sure that you guys read it. Okay. So guys, then just a goal recap. Okay, once you've done all of this stuff, you've checked out all of the processes, you've reproduced, you've got a plan in place, or not even in place, you've got a plan in mind, all written out. Check it back. It's like looking left, right, and left again, or right, left, and right again, depending on what country you're in, before you cross the road. Okay, take that strategy and compare it again to your goals. Okay, make sure everything is aligned. Make sure that the calls to action and the outcomes are aligned, okay? You need to also have a look, make sure that each channel, okay, each channel strategy, you may not, the content plan, certainly you would have different content per channel. And because of the nature of different channels, say you're using Snapchat and Facebook, they wouldn't have the same strategy. You can't post articles on Snapchat, as an example. So you've got to make sure that your strategies are aligned. It's that same but different. Okay, that it suits the channel that you're implementing it on, and separate goals per channel. Okay, so that your goals, if they are aligned, you do need to look for exactly what you're. It's like having separate goals per campaign as well. Okay, you might have separate goals per channel. Okay, so say you're using Instagram and you want a bunch of likes, whereas on Facebook you want a bunch of shares. Make sure you know what your goals are and how they align. How do they feed back to the greater good? All right, guys, so that is the social audit stuff. I did want to bring this stuff up to show you guys how to use these tools for competitor analysis. So what we can do, I could either, okay, we've got social mention here, we've got like Eliza, and we've got fan page karma. These are these three examples I've got here. What we can do is we can either look at these, or we can look at a Facebook page, and we can run through a simple audit. What do you guys think? And if you do think social media page, like a Facebook or an Instagram or whatever, give me your example, give me your link, and we'll have a look at that. But it's totally up to you guys. I have a funny feeling someone's going to want me to audit their page. Betty says Facebook page. Come on, guys. Energy. Facebook page, please, Monique. Excellent. Okay, guys. So whoever wants to put themselves up as tribute, I am more than happy to oblige. Simple audit, def Facebook page, competitor analysis. Oh, it looks like Facebook pages are winning out. So we're going to have, the first one in was Riza. Okay, so let's have a look. We're going to look at Signal Vault, South Africa. Okay, I can go on with these a bit, so I'm going to try and keep it simple. I do enjoy doing this. Okay, so, oh, that is awesome. I love that you've got the video up at the top there. It's a relatively good quality image or video, so that's good. Oh no, it's great quality. Okay, so that's brilliant. I like your image. I would use a logo instead of business cards, okay? Just use that simple logo or the name, Signal Vault, as a logo image here, okay? Yeah, just a company logo. So it just looks a little more slick. Very responsive to messages. Good job. Okay. Not a bad following. You've got 1,300 likes. Do you run any ads? Let me know. Type it in there. Riza, you're more than welcome. Okay, so high-tech solution for crowd hacking. Okay, so this is it's a good explanation. It's quite a long post. Okay, I like that there's a video. Guys, what I would suggest, when you're putting up posts like this, make it one thing or another, okay? Either give a big, long explanation and an image, or a video and a shorter explanation, okay? Because it needs to catch people's attention. Think about how you engage with social media, okay? Think about what catches your eye, okay? It's definitely not logos. It's not your company name. It's not the advertising, okay? If you see it in your news feed for whatever reason, yeah, think of what takes your attention, picks up your attention. It isn't the salesy stuff by any stretch of the imagination. You know, even if this stuff does show up in your news feed, which often it doesn't, people are not really kind of turned by your posts. But your social media page, guys, your Facebook page is a place for community, okay? I see what you're doing here. You're sharing all of this information. This is the same post, is it? There's this. Okay, so it's covering the same topic. I almost thought it was the same post there. Okay, so really cool little product. I like that you're scaring the heck out of people. That's quite nice. I like that. It is a bit different to your branding. So what I would do is keep with your colors when you're posting. It's all got to be tied together, okay? That's quite cute. But remember the content ratios that I was telling you about, okay? make sure that you're talking about other people and not just your product, and not just stuff that refers directly to your product. Okay, here you could talk about safety in general, safety tips, when you're traveling, you know, rather than just offer them quality, offer them value. Okay, rather than just going, look at me, look at me, look at me. And I hope I don't seem too harsh on this, guys. I do try not to. But it's like criticizing a page without criticizing it. But I really love this video at the top. Your shop now button, great. Your about, mission statement. Okay, so make sure crow hacking, or was it crowd hacking? Make sure everything's spelt well. Here with your story, make more of a story. You know, why does the product exist? You know, you've got your mission, but how did it come into being? Make it personal. Make it about why was the company started? Why did this idea come about? Okay. You've got the same information here and here, which isn't so like it. Try to vary it up. Just make it interesting for people to engage with. Okay. Why should they engage with you? Why should they live on your page? You know, why should your community engage on here? But otherwise, no, I dig it, man. I like that it's simple here. I like that it's simple here. Make sure that all of these are working. Okay. So there's that community offers. That's very long. Very, very long. So people need to be able to see what the offer is very, very quickly. Okay. Photos. See, your photos are all your brand. So mix it up a bit. Remember that we're dealing with social media, okay? And Riza's saying the problem is that no one buys. So this is just a channel into your having people purchase, okay? So let's have a look here. You press buy now. Where does it take us? So guys, these are simple things that you can do on your social page, okay? That's great. Takes you directly to the page. Brilliant, really cool. You know, you could, I mean, you could even write an article about. I'm all for articles. Okay, write an article about why your phone should have a case. Okay, little things that people are going to find of value. Do a bit of a brainstorm. But that is, I like your everything. I like this, guys. Make sure that your name is simple. Okay. That people are able to, your handle is simple to remember, okay? And then I'm just going to go here and see, and also your URL. That's very, very good, okay? Oh, goodness. There we go. Lovely. Really, really nice that you've got that pop up there as well, okay? But your URL is very important as well, guys. It needs to be nice and tidy. Okay, so that is this page. Riza, I will. Don't worry. I said please like my page. I will do, definitely. Okay, guys, so that's just give you a bit of an idea. That is all the time we've got.